Okay, so now as the last example, based on what we have learned, we will start from the web interface to get new first name, last name, age information. And then, based on user entered information, we will create this data in our persons table. So to do this, we need to make a user interface. So in the same folder, go to WinSCP, and in the same directory, M4T4 directory, let's create a new file. The file name is new person.html. So it's not PHP, HTML file. Okay, so in this new person.html file, actually I already added some code, but let me briefly explain it. So first I started with the HTML block, and we have a body tag. And inside the body tag, I added 3 lines. First one is for first name input box. Second one is last name. The third one is age. So we have studied about input and the form tag previously. So I will skip all the details, but here we have input tag and the type is text. And since we have multiple input boxes, make sure you have this name attribute. So first one is first name, second one is last name, and third one is age as the name. The name is very important because later when you want to retrieve your information, you are going to use this name as an index. So I will explain a little bit more further later when we talk about form tag. And after you add all those 3 inputs, now we need to add a button because user need to click the button to send the information. So let me add another input, the last one, and in this case type is submit. Okay. Now, although we need to add some more like a form tag, I wanna test this first to see how does it look like. So let's save it and go to your browser and let's type the URL address. So M4T4 new person.html. Okay, it looks okay, like a first name here, last name, second age, and we also have a submit button, right? Okay, so here now the user interface looks okay. However, we need to add one more thing. What is that? Since user will click the button, we have to specify what will be the receiving part of this data. So to do this, we need to include all this information in one kind of envelope. And to do this, we need form tag. So let's add the form tag here. And the one form can include all the inputs. So when you close this form, at the end of last input, so this is the good location for closing form. So we close form here. And the form needs some additional attributes. Actually, 2 key attributes we discussed previously. First one is target. The attribute name is action. So what will be the receiving page? We did not create it yet, but let's name it as insert form.php. And the second attribute, key attribute, is method. We have 2 methods. One is post method and the other one is get method. In this case, let's use the post method. So this is the post method. So here, form, and this is closed here, and this new one form include all the inputs. So let's save it. Now, if we save it, go back to your web page and refresh it. For example, if you enter your first name And if you click submit, what will happen? Nothing is developed yet, but you will see a error. What kind of error message? Since we do not have insert form.php, the browser will show you that insert form.php was not found on this server. So what's the next step? Yes, we need to create insert form.php. So let's do it. Insert form.php will be very similar to insert.php or insert_m.php. So create a new file. Let's name it as insert form.php as we specified in new person.html. And in this file, first you have to add a PHP block here, and then yes, we will create a connection and we will also execute SQL statements. But one more additional step here, we need to get the information that user entered in the previous HTML page. So let's get the values that user entered in the previous page. So to get this information, it depends on the method you have used. Inside the form tag, we use the post method. So we use $_post. It is case sensitive or uppercase because it's system variable, and it is array variable. And what we have to specify here inside as an index, you need to use name of the input. So first name for the first input. So by doing this, you can get the user enter the first names. So let's save it in our local variable. Let's have about first. So by doing this, using post array variable and using previous HTML files input name as an index, you can get that value and save it in $first. So similarly, we can get all the user entered value. I just copy and paste it here, but let me change the name. How about last and age, and the index will be changed based on the name of your input tag. So last name, and also here, what's the name? Age. So now we all enter all the values that user entered. So other following steps are very similar. So let me redo it. So first we have to make a connection. So let me make a connection here using include function. After you include, you have to write down SQL statement. This is insert into statements. So how to make it? So let's add SQL as a variable, and you may want to test it, but let me reuse what we have tested. So you may have one in your WordPad as well. So let's go to your WordPad, and let me copy this tested insert statement as a template. So I just paste it here. Okay, but now you have to replace this hard-coded value with yes, user entered value. So how can we replace it? First, and instead of child, you can just add a variable last, and this one numeric value age. So making sure hard-coded data was now replaced with user entered value in the previous web page. So it's not that difficult, right? Okay, so after then, what you need to do, you need to execute it. So we are going to call mysqli query function. So here, let's call the function, and I will save the result in result variable, and then we have to check the error. So let me check the error. So how to check the error? Using if condition. So if result, so if some condition, we wanna run this block with the curly brace, and else we wanna run this block. So the first block, let's say if result is not successful, so using exclamation mark, we can develop this error checking message. So let me add this here. So if result is not true, so when result is a failure, we want to echo error, and with this SQL statements, I want to show also capture the error message. How to capture the error? MySQL I underbar error with current connection. Else it was successful, so let's show the message echo new record is created successfully. So we can add this message echo new record created successfully. That may be enough. However, sometimes it is useful to get the ID that was just created. So I just want to introduce a new function to get the ID you have created. That is MySQL. Let me show you here. So how to get the ID? Get the ID that you have created, MySQL I underbar insert underbar ID. That is the function very useful to get the ID, the most recently created ID is con with the current connection as a parameter. So here, if you get this ID, you may create more meaningful messages. So ID, saved here $ID. And let me slightly modify this message. Instead of new record just created, let me show the ID number as well. So how about this? Echo new record created successfully with ID number, and let's concatenate this with ID. Okay, now we are done. The last step is close the connection. So let me close the connection by calling MySQL I and close function with $con as a parameter. Okay, so double check whether there is any syntax error, and then let's save it. So I saved it, and then test it. So let me test it. So to test, let's go back. So let's go back to new person.html, and let's say first name is James. How about Park as the last name? Age is how about 55, and let me submit it. Actually, we have some error message here. Although we also get this message, new record created successfully with ID 7, but on top we have error called undefined index last name. You may not have this error, but I want to point out this error message because it's a kind of a common error you will meet while you are doing some exercises, and I want to show you how to interpret this. Undefined index last name, and insert form.php line number 4. What this means? So go to, in my case, insert form.php, and I will see number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, number 4 line, and it says this index is wrong. So why it's wrong? So if you start with this kind of error message, think about that. The index is used here, and the index name is matched with which one? Not this file, but our HTML file. So we have to double check last name is the correct name in our HTML file. So do not just look at your PHP. If there is any problem with index, you must double check new person.html file and the last name. We have last name here as the name. Although name is here, what is the mistake? Yes, we did not close this type attribute with this double quotation mark. It looks very trivial, but very simple. One type like missing, double quotation mark could cause the error, and it is very difficult to catch. But again, if you have any index error message, you must look at not the current, not only current PHP page, but also you need to check the linked HTML page as well, and then you can point out, the errors, actual errors. So now let's retest it because we fixed this error. Okay, so I will refresh new person.html and let me type James Kim again, and let me submit it. Okay, so now there is no error message, and it says new record created successfully with ID number 8. So as the last step, let me check our result with the PHP-MyAdmin. So in PHP-MyAdmin, so let me browse our persons table, and the first one, James Kim, number 7, it was error. So data was created, but the last name with the wrong index we could not enter. But after we fixed the error in ID number 8, we added James Kim and 55. So everything is good. So now, in this example, further now we understand how to use HTML page as a tool for getting users' input or user entered data, and connect this information with post or get method, and retrieving those information. Then we can dynamically generate the insert into statement, and we execute it using the database. So it's a kind of general framework how to integrate database with a web-based program like PHP. And now you may better understand how web applications in all commercial websites are working. Like, for example, if you go to Amazon.com and if you register as a new user, you entered all the information, personal information, and when you submit the button, registration button, all your personal information will be saved where in Amazon's customer tables. That's how it works. Okay, so that's about topic 4, and in topic 5, we will see not only entering data or creating table, how to retrieve information from the database using select statements. So see you in topic 5. Thank you for watching this.